And welcome back to the final half hour of Green Rush Live, our regularly scheduled business of cannabis talk show that we do here on Pro Cannabis Media from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time every week. We love when we can get our Pacific Coast time people involved with us. We love to connect both coasts, and Josh Kincaid is with us from Washington State. He hosts the Talking Hedge podcast that is pretty regular, isn't it, Josh? I mean, you do them. How many a week do you do, Josh?
I post 5 shorts, 60 seconds or less, one a day. And then I'm only doing one now, Jimmy. I'm cutting way back. 5th and final season, the Talking Hedge. Then my next live is Tuesday next week. But I'm really cutting back. So I don't do 5 a week anymore, but it's still a lot of content out there.
All right. And speaking of content and content creators and contributors, right now I think I see your hand over the lens, but Jill Goldsbury, who is our New Jersey correspondent for We Talk News, was talking with us just a matter of seconds ago.
It's frozen. Yeah, she's frozen.
She is frozen. So if she can still hear us, she should log out, log back in, and get back in the room. But we'll talk. Josh, out of the conversations that we've had over the last 90 minutes, there's been some really in-depth conversations at a very, I hate to use the word high level, if you will. What are some of the things that you've picked up on from Michael Correa, or even from Jason Bello from the flower trade show guy, or even Bruce Barcott over the last 90 minutes?
Yeah, it just kind of shows me that the industry is normalizing where layoffs are normal. People are trying to expand and do things like Jason is moving from California to the Northeast and expanding and bringing his experience. I think that's phenomenal. That's great. But learning that Bruce got laid off and Michael got laid off is not surprising, whether it's a nonprofit or a publicly traded company. I think that times are tough and that there's going to be more layoffs and cutbacks and things of that nature, where consumers are doing the same thing. Businesses are no different. And so really the kind of takeaway for me is that this industry is normalizing. And I feel like MSO importance is kind of coming down. That multi-state operator is not as important. It's not that big buzz that it was, where we're trying to start to look at the local level. Like in the last segment, Jason was talking about the Northeast and events and how important that's going to be, or Michael was talking about local levels of, whether it's Oregon or Oklahoma or California that have access, and what's going to happen with those distressed areas and how that might turn over if we have interstate commerce that we mentioned with Bruce Barcott. All of these kind of things are opportunities for that industry to kind of expand and normalize into an everyday agriculture or normal product that you can or should be able to go out and consistently get, is what I'm hoping in the end, that we can kind of normalize it, go out and get the same thing consistently. There's these great edibles. We were talking about terpenes last time. Swift is this brand name that have THC and CBD, but they also have equal parts of CBN and CBG. And so CBG is great for inflammation, just kind of like CBD, but CBN is great for nighttime. And so when you get all of those and you get them all at the same time, a friend of mine has a double lung collapse. And so I'm trying to find these for him, and it's hard to find, and he can't move. And it's really painful for him. So I would love to be able to find those consistently. And so I just made my store. We have 1,800 SKUs, so I can understand how maybe they forget to reorder or whatever. It's one of the annoying parts of being in Washington State is having too many options where the software doesn't work, or people aren't checking the bins or whatever. So hopefully in the end, it'll be even more normal and you can get your stuff consistently without waiting.
And I think we've got Jill back. Hi, Jill. Uh-oh, we can't hear you now. Now we can't hear you. So talk to Dan and we'll figure out the technology here. She's muted now, so maybe she needs to unmute, and then we can get her to talk to us. I mean, it is. Still can't hear you, Jill. We were talking to her though before the show. I mean, we were ready to go.
No, that's how it works.
Oh wait, I got you. We got you.
Okay.
I got you. Jill, you're from New Jersey. Hey,
Yes.
We were talking about New Jersey, so I'm really glad that you're back with us and you can share with us, because in New Jersey, that market is evolving. It's really starting to pick up. Not only did you have Curaleaf going in and then coming back in and again, but you now have opened up some new dispensaries, and now other people are getting chances to open up in the New Jersey area. And I understand that there was also some awards in New Jersey last night, the first awards for the market in the cannabis space. Why don't you walk us through what that's all about and tell us what's going on? Go ahead.
Definitely. Yes. And New Jersey is definitely exploding right now in the cannabis scene. Last night, this was actually, I believe this was the second, the New Jersey Cannabis Insiders Awards. It was last night in Carteret, New Jersey. If you know anything about New Jersey, you'll know.
What exit? Oh, sorry.
I don't know what exit it is, but it's out there. It's past Oradell. I know that much.
Okay.
It's not a place I frequent. But yeah, I was at the Cataract Arts Center. It was a big gala, very, festive. I'm kind of dressed festive for the, award season commentary, So yeah, they had a lot of awards they gave out, like Excellence in Cannabis Law, that went to Alana Hans Cohen of Poshman Stein, who's also been named Insider New Jersey's top 100 cannabis on the power list there here as well. She's also very familiar with minority and women-owned businesses and social equity. So she's definitely someone to seek out if you are looking to, for an attorney. There were a lot of
like the best dispensary. Do you have like the best grower, anything like that? Yes. What do you got? What are the other categories?
exciting awards that we want to know in New Jersey. Okay, some of our New Jersey natives, winner in production and innovation. I'll give you the list of nominees though, just so you have an idea of the type of nominees. AYR Wellness, Block, Butter Cake, which is a brand a delivery service and edible brand, Canna Spyglass, Future Ethogenic Medicines, and Miss Grass, who's also very familiar with her and her products. So the winner was Butter Cake by women-owned company CEO Martha Figaro. She's out of Jersey City, actually, and she's also part of.
I think I've heard. Yeah. Yeah,
you probably have. She's all over the conventions. I know she was at MJM Biz, and she's out there, and she's also part of our BCB Masterminds cohort as well. So shout out to them. Congratulations to Martha. Excellence in social equity, that went to Hoffman Centers. That's Michael Hoffman. He's an attorney who focuses on social equity and expungement. Minority business owner of the year. There were several categories there. Roll Up Life, who you may have heard about. They've been having some issues in New Jersey recently. Simply Pure, that's Tahir Johnson, Canpowerment, and Blaze Responsibly. Blaze Responsibly wound up being the winner there. And you can find them on Instagram. You can see they've got pictures of their win and they're on stage and everything. It was a big night. It was a big night.
So let's talk a little bit about the overall scene of cannabis in New Jersey these days. I want to ask about the media, because that's my baby, obviously.
Yeah.
Is cannabis being followed by traditional media? Did anybody cover that event? Was like NJ.com there? Were any of the TV networks there? Anything like that?
Well, I know this was NJ.com's event, so they were definitely.
So they covered it, obviously.
Yeah, they were definitely. I did not see as much coverage from the mainstream publications yet or media, but I'm sure we'll see something sooner or later. Yeah. Probably the next day or so we'll hear more about that, because some of these companies are pretty well known in the industry and in the state. Like our friend Jill Cohen, she won best CBD dispensary.
All right. Yay. Congrats, Jill.
Jill.
Dan knows Jill. Jill. Absolutely.
Over in Maplewood. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Good for her. I love the passion of the people that are in this industry now, that the business owners, everybody's in it together. We all know the challenges of this industry. And if you can make it in any kind of acclamation or being recognized by your peers, it helps ease the other stuff that goes on, like, can we pay our bills? Are we paying our bills? That sort of thing. And it's really been challenging out there.
So for those of us on the West Coast, what is NJ? I'm looking at the New Jersey Cannabis Insider 2023 awards from NJ.com, but what is NJ?
NJ.com is
New
a
Jersey.
umbrella of New Jersey media. It's NJ.com. It includes like NorthJersey.com, all the little.
Is this state-owned, non-cannabis related?
No, it's non-cannabis related, but they have a cannabis portion that they started to cover all of New Jersey cannabis.
Yeah.
And it's by the state. Is that right?
Yeah, it's by the state.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's not, this isn't like a cannabis guy who's like, oh, I'm just going to, or girl, whatever. Like,
no.
This is like the state doing this. That's
it's
pretty unique.
It's actually part of NJ.com. And shout out to their editor, Jelani Gibson for, hooking up all the information I needed for today. I appreciate that. So yeah.
Was this a revenue play, or are they really interested in doing it? Because they only waited 14 months because the first sales in New Jersey were 4/21 of last year. So barely a year, not a whole lot to really give awards based on. So are they running out as like, we truly want to like have New Jersey be this cannabis thing, or are they like, maybe we can make some money off of it? What was your take?
I think it's a little bit of both, because it is subscription based. There are articles that you can read, but the more important articles that you're going to want to read, there's a subscription, there's a paywall for that. So yeah, there's a revenue portion, but there's also an informative portion. They host events around New Jersey that are informative. They get cannabis entrepreneurs together with various events. So yeah, there's definitely an educational aspect, there's an entrepreneurial aspect, and yes, of course, a revenue aspect as well.
But were the winners, seem to be like the appropriate winners, or did you see some people who were like, oh, they happen to be the sponsor? I wonder if that was a pay to play system like all the other award systems. Did you feel like they were deserving?
I can't speak for the law firms, but the people that I know personally that did win, I believe they are very well deserving of that, because I know that they've been going at it for a while. They've, dotted all their I's, crossed all their T's. They've done everything they need to do to be compliant and be in that space. So yeah, I think that mostly everyone has been well deserving in their award.
Yeah, except for the accounting one, because Accounting Buds should have won, okay? For the best cannabis accountant service in New Jersey. Our pal Rick Leneve should have won, okay? But you know what? Avis tries harder too. Remember that saying, right? Sometimes you have to try harder to get to the top of the mountain. And he does it. That's a good job. I want to make sure I give him a shout out because, a big accounting firm won, big deal. They have more employees, It's a popularity. You could vote 1 million times, Josh. Okay.
Yeah, I know it's popular contest. That's the worst part about it. Yeah. Yeah,
and I voted once. I'll admit. Okay, I voted once for Rick. But, I like to do things the right way as opposed to the wrong. Whatever. Hey, Jill.
Guess who won recreational dispensary of the year?
Who's that? Oh,
that. You'll never believe it. It was a apothecarium dispensary in Maplewood also. So Maplewood's sweeping up awards here.
All right. Hey, guess who just joined us? Guess who's coming to dinner?
Hi, Lavana.
And there she is. That's Lavana Nassau. She is a San Francisco-based media person that's now living on the East Coast. We don't need to tell people that, but we're really hoping that Lavana is going to end up being our California correspondent. I met her last week at CWCB, and I'm so excited that she finally figured out how to get in. So Lavana, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, you're welcome. That was a comical amount of Chevy Chase mistakes as I made to get in the suit. For having me there. Apologies for being so late.
No, that's all right. It means you only get 10 minutes, but we'll be happy to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about who you are, what you've built out there in San Fran, and someone who has a tremendous amount of experience working in that California market, which, as we all know, is the #1 market in so many categories, including the one that is the most messed up. I'm sorry to say, right? I mean, because it's big and it's messed up. how did that happen in California? If you have all the money in the world and everybody's into it, and the California is one of the biggest states, if not the biggest state outside of New York, in the country, how did it get screwed up? Is my question.
You know, the Colorado market was the first legal market, and that was the testing ground for the entire country. But it's such an incomparable population and demographic to California being so big, seventh largest economy in the world. California, you know, is the biggest supplier of cannabis and was, you know, I don't know who I may maintain that, but you know, New York, where we met, is the biggest consumer market in the world. It's,
Right.
you know, not necessarily in the context of cannabis, the biggest market in the world. And New York was already, before legalization, the biggest market in the world. But yes, we have 20 million acres of farmland. We have a 20-year legal, you know, meaning medical, you know, culture and market existing. And so there was a combination of things. I mean, the factors to why, but you know, I think last year at the CWCB Expo, in terms of like the success of the recreational market, you know, the black market was already going strong, and a lot of the people that are now considered black market or whatever were just doing what they were doing on the legal medical market beforehand, became the black market because of regulations and whatnot. And I don't know, you know, what happened in other states, but in California, it was definitely, from my experience from day one, being inside working in, I was working from day one in legal, going through the transitions with various companies in Sonoma County in the Bay Area and back in the cultivation area, but like listening in and knowing a lot of the people onboarding personally was like, for one, nobody put in charge of the BCC, the Bureau of Cannabis Control, which is now the DCC, the Department of Cannabis Control, had experience in cannabis. There's this, you know, sort of idea, even though it becomes normalized, that people who have experience in cannabis are somehow not qualified to run the cannabis industry. So, like the regulations became, you know, as they were written out, just didn't have any of the actual people, stakeholders, opinions and expertise until very late in the game. I think about 2 years ago, finally, somebody on enforcement, a few of the people that became in control started to become in charge and give some real like life input. So regulations were a mess rolling out. Of course, you know, they one of the things that I'm coming to, you know, with cannabis in general is the overregulation. All it really does is really fuel the black market, because if there's such a leap to become regulated or, you know, become licensed, then it makes it impossible. And so, you know, they had all cap on licensing everywhere. They also allowed all of the counties and municipalities to make their own decisions around things. And a lot of like, one of the biggest examples that people know about right now is that there's only to this day, 5 years into legalization, been 6 cultivation licenses given out in Mendocino. There's had to be formed all these, 6. So there's hundreds of farmers and families, and we're talking 3rd generation families that were farming and thriving off of this forever, and naturally should have been given, you know, licenses, but the county restricted it. The county had a history of restricting these businesses, and so
yet you have Glass House Brands that's ran by a retired cop who's sending out literally tons and tons in the back door, which is the whole reason why I think that's the epitome of the California market. Is you have one of the largest producers selling deliberately in the black market because they're opportunistic, even though they are from the law. They came from the police department. They don't care.
And they put people in jail for that. And one of the things that you know, that's kind of being talked about right now is like getting a legal license is like a license to trap. So that's a perfect example of them being able to do that. You know, as soon as, I mean, look, it was what it was, like, because they made survival in the legal market so hard. Another example, like somebody told me, is locks are made for honest people, so the most honest people really trying to operate on the legal market right now are being held back. Huckleberry Health Farms, I did an interview with him on a live. He popped into a live and explained he's cost him right now to grow on the legal market $400 a pound. He's getting paid $3.08 through the very complicated streamline of the not dispensaries, the
Wholesale.
distributors,
Wholesalers.
yeah. And they're not paying them out. So he's sitting there, if you're farming and growing, you have to have that timely, funds coming back in so you can plant and grow and afford your nutrients and everything else. So, that's probably the bottom line right there, why the market is failing. And they want to blame the black market a lot, but if they weren't just, that's causing, also the supply chain. So, they brought in 5 agencies in the beginning. They kept adding agencies on. So the regulation costs in the beginning start game became so expensive over and over again. That also put a lot of people out of business.
We've got just a couple of minutes left, but Jill, I'm wondering if you've got any concerns or been hearing concerns on the East Coast about the fires. The West Coast were kind of used to it. Anything out of any advice out of California that you can give to the East Coast? Lavana?
Been seeing a lot of advice circulating around online about what we should be doing here, what you guys have been dealing with in California, and also back to what you were talking about, that just happened here. We're seeing that here a lot with people trying to do the right thing. They can't open, they can't get their licenses, so they are going to turn to black market and they're getting shut down. I mean, we just saw that yesterday. I know you posted about it, Lavana. I saw you post about that as well. So
It's something new. I worked with a company up in Canada called Agrimo Botanical, and they were one of the first 15 companies to get a international export license to Canada. They got slapped on the wrist for selling before the 2.0 in Canada allowed them to sell vape pens. They got slapped on the wrist. They kept doing it, and then they were publicly traded. They got caught again, and they lost everything. They lost the international license. They lost everything. And it's so stupid. We should be learning from these experiences. If you need help, get a co-op, work together with one another. Don't be stupid because you're going to lose eventually. So learn from our experiences on the West Coast. If you're on the East Coast and you need some help, reach out. It is a community, even though it's somewhat competitive. There's people that have learned things that you can learn from. Just reach out. Don't be dumb.
That's right. And don't point fingers. It's not about fault and blame. It's finding ways to make it work. That's what this industry needs to figure out. It's the collaboration inside competition, but it is collaboration that needs to happen in order for the common good. And California had a very good medical program going, and then they screwed it up by opening it up to the adult use. And and then it became craziness over there. Anyway, hey, Lavana, thanks for the effort. You got on the show. You're welcome here anytime. We look forward to having you on as a regular. Jill, I know you met Lavana in New York, so you guys now are peeps and you're in the hood. So I expect the two of you will hang out and have a sesh together or whatever you guys do. And Josh, thank you so much for being out there, out in Washington State. It means so much to me. And you've been so helpful. And I've made it through the show. And with only about 5 or 6 hacks. So that's not too bad. I'm very happy about that. I have not been 100% since I came back from New York City, but we still put together a very cool news show. It's coming up right after this. And a reminder that every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, we are here talking about the business of cannabis. So please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And always remember, it's a whole new world of weed out there. Okay, use it responsibly. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.
Thanks for listening to today's show. To check out more great cannabis podcasts, go to podconnects.com. Here's a preview of one of our other shows.
Hey there, my name is Leah Babrudi, and I'm the founder and host of Canachicks Podcast, where I discuss cannabis, psychedelics, and other natural medicines. I not only interview people who use them as treatment for different conditions, but also the entrepreneurs who share their knowledge on how they built their businesses. If this sounds interesting to you, give my show a listen. I'm sure you'll learn something that'll surprise you.